Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are unpacking a massive tectonic shift in how AI music is created, distributed, and ultimately, how it actually reaches your ears. We're looking at a dramatic new dividing line that's splitting the music industry right down the middle. And we're going to dig into the powerhouse new technology that is making it all happen.
Okay, let's dive into this. Suno is a pirate studio.
Wow.
That is a direct, hardline quote from Believe. They're the parent company of TuneCore, which, if you don't know, is one of the absolute biggest independent music distributors in the world. Back in April 2026, this statement sent absolute shockwaves through the indie music scene. Because this wasn't just some casual comment in an interview, right? It was a formal declaration of exactly how they plan to handle unlicensed AI going forward.
So, to make sense of all this industry drama and the really complex tech behind it, here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the AI music copyright line. Then we'll meet Google's Lyria 3 Pro and explore how it structures the perfect song. After that, we'll do a heavy-hitting comparison of Lyria Pro versus Suno, check out watermarking with Google Synth ID, and finally we'll break down exactly what all of this means for you, the everyday creator.
Section 1. The AI music copyright line. The industry draws a line in the sand. Historically, music distributors like TuneCore were basically just neutral pipes. You'd upload a song, click a box promising you own the rights, and boom, they pushed it straight to Spotify or Apple Music. But this recent explosion of generative AI, it's forced these distributors to step up and act as active gatekeepers. Companies like Believe have essentially split the AI music world right into two camps. On one side, you have what they are literally calling pirate studios. These are platforms like Suno, whose training data licensing is currently being heavily contested in active litigation by major labels. Because of this legal gray area, they are now explicitly blocked from distribution, period. But on the other side, you have licensed partners like Udio, ElevenLabs, and Google. Because these platforms actually cleared their training data and partnered with the industry, tracks made with them are fully supported and distributed.
Let's look at how this translates into actual enforceable policy. TuneCore's new rules are pretty strict. 100% AI-generated works are blocked by default, no questions asked. Exceptions are only made if you use an officially licensed partner platform. They've stated this policy protects three core pillars for human artists: consent, control, and compensation. And here's the kicker. They aren't just taking your word for it anymore. TuneCore is leveraging some incredibly serious advanced detection tech to spot and block unauthorized AI uploads right at the front door. This is setting a massive new standard that the rest of the indie sector is going to have to respond to in the next 90 days.
Moving into Section 2. Meet Google Lyria 3 Pro, the premier licensed alternative.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that this industry shift isn't just about blocking the bad stuff. It's about actively endorsing the right technology. TuneCore has completely backed Google Flow Music's new generation engine, Lyria 3 Pro. This beast of an engine runs on a breakthrough architecture called temporal audio latent diffusion. Okay, I know, that sounds like a ridiculously intimidating technical term, but the concept is actually brilliant. See, older AI models generated music sequentially, basically just guessing the next note. That's why a song's tempo or rhythm would often kind of fall apart or drift right around the 2-minute mark. But here is the plain English translation of this new tech. It performs its processing in a compressed space while explicitly factoring in time. This means Lyria 3 Pro can generate a totally consistent 3-minute track without the beat completely falling apart by the end.
And beyond just holding a steady groove, the core capabilities here are a massive leap forward. We're talking high-fidelity stereo audio up to 3 minutes long. It deeply understands multi-language vocal synthesis, handling even the really complex tones of languages like Mandarin completely naturally. Plus, it features exceptional mix clarity. You can actually hear the crisp separation between the bass and the snare drum. But the absolutely most vital feature for our discussion today, it is trained strictly on licensed data from Google and YouTube. Because it was trained responsibly, artists using it can legally distribute their tracks. In fact, TuneCore is so on board, they're even offering artists bonus credits just to use it.
Section 3. Structuring the perfect song. From random loops to musical architecture.
As we touched on just a minute ago, early AI music generators basically just took a vibe check and guessed what should come next. But Lyria 3 Pro introduces deliberate, structured composition. Let's walk through this workflow together. Step 1 is pretty standard. You write a bass prompt for your genre and mood. But Step 2, this is revolutionary. You define the song structure. You literally specify the exact length and role of your intro, verse, chorus, and bridge. Then Step 3 lets you generate, review, and selectively tweak specific sections without losing the entire track. Think of it exactly like architecture.
You aren't just asking the AI to dump a random pile of musical bricks in your lap. You are handing it a precise blueprint for a house with very specific rooms.
And the crazy part is, the AI actually grasps this blueprint. It goes way beyond just reading text labels. The model understands the functional role of each section. It genuinely knows that verses exist to establish the story, and choruses are there to deliver that massive emotional peak. It knows exactly why a bridge exists, to create contrast and build tension. Having this level of awareness makes the final output sound like a deliberate, intentional arrangement crafted by a human composer, rather than just some algorithmic loop.
Section 4. Lyria Pro versus Suno. The heavyweights go head-to-head.
All right, it's the inevitable showdown. Suno V5 and Lyria 3 Pro represent two totally different technical and creative philosophies in the AI space right now. So the crucial point is understanding what each model is actually optimized to do. Lyria 3 Pro is optimized for exact structural control, incredibly clean instrumental separation, and multi-language support. Basically, it acts like a technically flawless studio session musician who plays exactly what you wrote on the sheet music. Suno V5, on the other hand, is optimized for deep vocal expressiveness, slightly longer tracks, and super rapid iteration. It acts much more like a highly expressive, maybe slightly unpredictable pop singer. Let's look at the specs side by side. Suno V5 actually has a slight edge on max duration at about 4 minutes compared to Lyria's 3 minutes. When it comes to song structure, Lyria gives you native explicit control, whereas Suno relies on tag-based inference, meaning you're kinda just hoping the AI correctly reads your bracketed tags. Suno's vocals are highly dynamic and super emotional, while Lyria's are more clean and composed. But guys, the real tiebreaker is right there at the bottom, licensing. Lyria's training data is fully licensed and cleared. Suno's is currently contested in active litigation. Your choice of tool right now dictates not just how your song sounds, but whether it will actually be allowed on major streaming platforms. Which brings us to a really vital question. With AI getting this good, producing absolute studio-quality tracks with perfect vocals and intentional structure, how do we even know if a song is actually AI? How do platforms like TuneCore enforce these bans in the real world?
Section 5. Watermarking with Google Synth ID. Securing the chain of trust. Well, the answer is that Google went ahead and integrated a tracking solution directly into the very audio signal of every single Lyria 3 Pro track. And this brilliantly illustrates how the technology is beginning to self-regulate. Meet Synth ID. It's a digital watermark embedded at the audio signal level. It is completely imperceptible to human ears, so it doesn't mess up your listening experience at all, but it is incredibly resilient against MP3 compression, added background noise, or even if someone tries to change the speed of the track to hide it. This provides the exact infrastructure we need for future copyright management, allowing distributors to securely and instantly identify licensed AI content without playing guessing games.
Section 6. Impact on everyday people. What's in it for you?
We have talked a lot today about massive corporate policy shifts, latent diffusion architectures, and multi-million-dollar lawsuits. But what does all of this actually mean for you? If you are an amateur musician, maybe a podcaster, or a video content creator, this shift is honestly huge. First, it democratizes studio-level production. You don't need to rent a $10,000 studio to make a great backing track anymore. Tools like Lyria 3 Clip even allow you to do rapid 30-second idea testing just to find the perfect vibe for your video. Crucially, because this specific ecosystem is fully licensed, you get a seamless legal distribution pipeline straight to Spotify and Apple Music without constantly sweating over copyright strikes. And finally, this framework actually protects original, everyday human artists from having their hard work scraped and exploited by unlicensed tech. It safely lowers the barrier to entry for your own creativity while keeping the whole ecosystem fair.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. As AI turns literally anyone with an idea into a fully-fledged studio producer, will the true value of music shift away from technical execution and purely toward human storytelling? Think about it. When technical perfection is literally just a prompt away, it might just be our human flaws and our highly unique personal stories that make music truly special. Some to chew on. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I will catch you in the next explainer.